What's going on, everyone? Scotty White of World Combat Sports. Welcome. Hopefully everyone is doing great. As we still are in the process of the COVID-19 situation, I'm going to switch it up. But yes, I do have a boxing talk topic to speak on today. It concerns the one and only Franchon, Crews-Dezurn, and Alejandro Jimenez. The decision was handed down recently. You know what I'm saying? I went over the WBO decision. The WBO did what was right, returned the belts back to the rightful owner of Crews-Dezurn, who deserves it. You know what I'm saying? 6-1. Her record did reflect 6-2. So it's up to the sanctioning bodies to have some type of accountability, right? That's what we wanted, right? That's what we was hoping for. That's what we was assuming that would happen in this particular case. The reason why we was assuming that is that it's obvious, it's cut and dry, clear, straight to the point. The Alpha Bravo samples came back dirty. So with that said, why did we wait on the WBC to reply in a manner for which it seems to me it goes against integrity? And you know, when it comes to boxing, it's hard to say, okay, morals and principles and integrity, right? But this is just bad. I'm saying it's bad all the way around because this chick not only fit the bill, you know what I'm saying? People was defending Jimenez. People was out here protesting, saying that people was just treating her all wrong and everything. And they should give her a try. You know, they had the movement trying to spin up a narrative as to why she wasn't receiving all the freaking accolades and going in there defeating Franchon Crews-Dezurn, right? And here we go, post-fight, she tests positive on her A and B sample, and the WBC saying she's gonna have to fight to regain the title that's rightfully hers. That's a travesty, man. That's lunacy. That's absurd, bewildering, disappointing, all of that together. I feel bad, really, for Dezurn because, you know, she's been advocating for stringent drug testing, and herself has been competing as a clean fighter, respected in the fight game. You know what I'm saying? Respected in the fight game. To come in here and go through a fight with a dirty fighter that potentially could have harmed her, or, you know, the way they was banging for 10 rounds, it could have ended up all wrong for her, just like we've seen in the past, right? But it's just puzzling to me why the WBC would not take in consideration to get this changed, you know what I'm saying, to do us right. Why wouldn't the WBC just return the belt to her? It's an obvious, clear-cut determination, you know, based off the findings of Jimenez to return the belt so she can be unified champion. Now you're saying the WBO is the only one that can basically do the right thing in their justification. And their justification being strictly off the findings. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is voided. Everything else goes away. You have the facts right there in front of you. It tells you that she was dirty on both samples. Why is the WBC has to be a bit more stubborn? You know, you have to sit up here and enforce some type of other bylaws or, you know, regulations internal to your sanctioning body. Why can't you just be, you know, in this particular case, why can't you just be in conformity to do what is right by boxing and return the fighter her belts? She deserved that, man. Seriously, for her to have to step back in the ring with a top opponent, it's just senseless to even consider such, because now you're saying that anyone has a WBC title, right? If their opponent is dirty and after a petition is filed or whatever, their opponent comes back dirty, it's nothing they should really get excited about because they still have a whole entire different process to go through. You know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't get happy that the belts will be returned back to them, or the belt will be returned back to them when it's the WBC. They should just take in consideration that they'll probably have to face somebody else that they feel they shouldn't even get a title shot. And I know we see this a lot in boxing. We see mandatories come out from the bottom buckets of the barrel, and we see this all the time, people. But in this particular nature right here for Crews-Dezurn, I truly feel wholeheartedly that she should have received both belts back in her possession because she was fighting someone that wasn't clean. You know, Jimenez was going against the rules. She used to be a former heavyweight champion, dropping down in weight. We often see it on the male side of the house, but since we were able to see it in the super middleweight division on the female side of the house, what we was seeing in front of us, we was all tuned in, leaning into us like, damn, this is gonna be a good fight. Okay, who is this chick again? Who is Jimenez? Alejandro Jimenez? Okay, all right. So when the fight start playing out, we say, damn, this is a tough fight. This is a good fight. Being that the women, they have a shallow depth of true hardcore competition. You know what I'm saying? So you can link up fighters from different sanctioned bodies and say, you know what? I want to see them fight. I want to see them fight. This turned out to be pretty damn good. But unfortunately for Jimenez, she had cut corners in her weight cut, and she went in there, and the findings are what they are. I'm just being absolutely honest with you, the people, and the boxing heads, the hardcore fight fans, is that this just doesn't make any sense. A lot of times in boxing, it would never make sense to you. Shit like this would never make sense as to something that's so obvious, man. Like in one sense, we're talking about how difficult boxing is and how these fighters go in there and risk it all and put their life on the line. But then when they have actually fought through an adverse situation that could indeed place them in the hospital, right? This could indeed place her in the hospital, could have ended her career, could have changed her life forever. Then it's like, no, this is what we're going to do. She's going to have to fight to regain a title that is rightfully hers because her opponent cheated. So that brings me to this. It's good that that the WBO did the right thing. Salute to them, man. Salute to the WBO for doing the right damn thing. Boxing is a hurt business, man. People go out here every day. They train their ass off in the gym, broke. A lot of them are broke. They struggling and they just get put in a web. Like so many boxers are in a web that they have to find a way out of, man. And they go in there and just put in do or die efforts to work themselves up to the biggest moment. And then when that moment comes, they start getting some traction. They may experience a situation like this where they run in there with something that seems simple. They win the fight. They may have been champion, lose their belt, come to find out the fight is dirty, and they don't automatically get their belt back if it's a WBC. That's unfortunate. Really unfortunate. What's going on, Retro for Life? Salute to you, man. Shout out to Justin. Salute to you, man, for dropping in. He said WBC favor who they favor. Politics. They don't give a F about business. It's business. They don't give a F. It's business. I have to check the box with you on that. I have to line that up because when it comes down to it, I don't like to dive into conspiracy theories and all this other stuff that goes on in boxing because the sport been around for so goddamn long. We've seen fighters get screwed out of certain things. But, for me, this seemed cut and dry. This situation right here, you can't even sit up here and say, well, if she would have did this, if she would have did that. No, Crews-Dezurn, she did everything she's supposed to. She did. Look, she fought her ass off from start to finish. She gave us an entertaining championship fight in the process of defending 2 titles, only to get to the aftermath of it. And then she only spoke lightly. She said, hey, I'm just saying things don't look a little right. I'm just letting it be known things don't look right here. You know what I'm saying? I've sparred men. I've sparred bigger, larger men. I hit pretty hard. I can bang in there. And without being overly acutely, what some people call disrespectful or a sore loser. Because if Dezurn would have came back just a little bit aggressive and say, you know what, she ain't clean. Fuck it, I'm saying it, she ain't clean. I'm making the call. People would have sit up there and gave her so much backlash, man. They would have said, no, you're a sore loser. You mad because she went in there and goddamn gave you the hands and she was the better fighter. And then if these results would have came out 2 weeks later, she still wouldn't receive the apologies that she needed for speaking up. But kudos to her on having that instinct about knowing what she's capable of and what she's been through in the gym and sparring and who she sparred to what she was in there in the ring with. You know what I'm saying? So for her to kind of feel like certain part of my punches could be, certain part of my punches are lethal. I know they have power. I know they can do damage. But she was just walking through them too easily. Like, I know my body. She was basically saying, I know my body. I know what my capabilities are. So if I know technically my instruction on how hard I can punch, she should be feeling a little different. I should see some reaction to her. No, she's just walking through the shit. She's not even fazed by it. And, you know, a woman's intuition, right? You got to put that in consideration. Like, that's a woman's intuition, man. Like, I know what I see. Something ain't right. And she was spot on with that shit, man. WBC, we about cash. Hey, that's for sure, man. WBC, we about cash for real. I have to put that up. WBC we about cash. Unfortunately, there, Justin, it ain't we. You know what I'm saying? But I know you're using the W. It would be good if we got some type of compensation for it. You know what I'm saying? We got all compensation for tuning into a fight that the individual wasn't even abiding by the rules. That just sucks, man. You know what I'm saying? I've seen her husband in person, man, in Baltimore. And what was the other occasion? I seen them again, man. You know, cool people. You know, really cool people. And they both box too. You know what I'm saying? Like, goddamn. Like, both of these fighters are in the sport. So imagine what a husband was going through when he was looking at the fight and they was having conversations in the aftermath. Like, imagine what they was talking about. You know, Franchon was like, hey, I'm telling you, I hit her with some shots, and I know the average woman that's in here on this this stage or this level would have felt some type of way. Like, they would have kind of changed the rhythm up. I was hitting her with some shots. And then her husband was like, I know, I seen it. But she didn't flinch, man. She kept coming forward. And they was probably saying to themselves, like, man, we just have to wait till these tests come back, because it ain't no way, man, she's clean. Like, I just didn't want to say it in front of the camera, but it's no way that she's a clean fighter. I just can't see a fighter coming down from heavyweight to super middleweight being that strong. You know what I'm saying? Refuting every type of damn shot that I'm loading up, that I'm giving her. I mean, I'm talking about with bad intentions, and she's not even flinching like she's been here before. Nah, that's just not the way it works. That's just not the way it works. I can't say I'm disappointed in WBC because they do what the hell they want to do. You know, just like Justin was saying, politics, man. They favor who they favor. Unfortunately, that's boxing, man. You know, WBC is the highest sanctioning body, the highest ranking sanctioning body out of the four. So they've been known to do some things on their own accord, by their own standards, by their own rules and regs, you know, internal to whatever freaking operating procedure that they go off of. They don't go off anybody else's flow of traffic than that of their own. You can believe that. Not the IBF, not the WBO, not the dang WBA. They do their own thing. I mean, they got the best belt. And look, as much as I hate to bring this up, right? As much as I hate to bring this up, that franchise belt, man, it kind of just put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, man, including my own. on the individuals they selected. The individuals that the WBC selected. You know what I'm saying? That's what I had a problem with. Like, what was the selection process at the time? What was the selection process? Because Canelo Alvarez, I could see him doing this, that, and that, but how much contribution has he attributed to the WBC? Canelo Alvarez moving up and doing what he's doing. Was everybody he faced? I'm just curious. Did everybody he faced, did it consist of the WBC title? I understand he moved up 2 weight classes and did what he did and stopped his opponents and everything. But where does it play into a factor that he just basically represented the WBC to the best of his ability? You know what I'm saying? He should be adorned. He should be put up in the pantheon of boxers for the WBC. When did that ever happen? Why Canelo Alvarez? Because at the time, he's the cash cow. And then Vasily Lomachenko, 14-1, right? Vasily Lomachenko, he faces Luke Campbell, an understandably Olympian. I get it. But he faces Luke Campbell and win. It wasn't even one of those wins that you was like, you look back on and I say, I want to watch that fight again. He wins the vacant WBC title. I mean, what more can you ask for, right? I thought it was going to be Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko. That fight fell through. So here we are, Luke Campbell and freaking Vasily Lomachenko. He wins the WBC belt, and then all of a sudden the franchise belt coming. He vacates it. How does he get franchised? Like, what did he do for the WBC? Did he go on like a 5-year title reign? What is the criteria content for being a WBC franchise belt holder? And on top of that, how can you say this particular boxer can be unified without having the super title? And they're incapable of losing that title, meaning their opponent has no means of winning that franchise belt. No means. It's no way possible. So like I like to use this scenario, right? If Teofimo Lopez defeats Vasily Lomachenko, he isn't the unified. I'm talking about undisputed. He is not. He has to go and fight whoever has that WBC super belt. And right now, once again, the WBC placed Devin Haney on a brand new, never heard before, recess champion. Have we ever heard of recess champion, people? How can we place a fighter on recess and they're injured? I don't get it. I don't get how a franchise champion cannot lose the belt. But if they win the remaining titles in the division, they're considered the undisputed champion. So these individuals considered the undisputed champion with a belt that they never had to earn, that they never had to step in the ring to win. And also they're putting the franchise belt over the super title. So anybody who challenged either one, Canelo in that particular division that they earned the franchise belt, or Vasily Lomachenko, they cannot win that franchise belt. But the sad part about it, they cannot become undisputed champion unless they, the challenger, win the super title, the WBC super title. That's unfair, right? What's going on, M. Griggs 1964? Salute, man. Salute to the chat, man. Everybody who's joining in. The sanctioned bodies are turning boxing into a joke. If you, hey, M. Griggs 64, right? If you're talking about boxing being turned into a joke, that'll stem years back. That'll go all the way back, because we just can't hype on like what I just mentioned about the franchise, but we're talking about earlier the decision for them not to return Crews-Dezurn's WBC title back to her after seeing one of their colleagues, their neighboring compeers. WBO did the right thing and said, let us give her, reinstate her as the WBO world champion and the super middleweight champion. super middleweight division. Just to say French fries champions, meaning it doesn't matter, but it matters. Forget that French fry belt. And the one thing I can say about the franchise belt, though, it's a nice looking belt. But it reminds me of one of those belts, like when people look at it, other boxers that's in the sport, they're not going to say, oh man, I remember when you won that belt. No, you was actually given the belt. You was nominated. And I can't say it's a promotion like you was promoted from the super title up to the franchise title. The reason why I can't say it's a promotion, because what measure are we putting that up against? What is the measurement? As far as being a boxer and winning that belt, it's none, right? So if we're in a sport that demands the competitors to compete for a championship belt, therefore the measurement for that franchise belt should be the same way. It should have some type of validity to it that you have to compete to win it. But that process was a nomination. And a lot of us know the nomination is not clear. Like, how in the hell do you become a franchise champion? And only two people right now, Canelo Alvarez and Vasily Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? What is the commonalities with that? What is the commonalities, man? Seriously, what are the commonalities that these two will become the first two franchise champions in boxing, when there's been other WBC title holders that's out there that's been reigning longer than both of them when it comes to the WBC? Are you saying it's going to be a WBC franchise belt for what? All the freaking, all your freaking constituting resume, all the fights that you have? Because all the divisions that they've been in, not all of them has been consistent with a WBC title. I mean, what is the criteria? And then you look at Gary Russell Jr. Before Deontay Wilder lost his belt, Gary Russell Jr. was the second in command. He was just a couple of months outside of Deontay Wilder's reign. You know what I'm saying? So taking that in perspective, Gary Russell Jr. should have been freaking a franchise champion. If you're talking about the WBC length of reign, he should have been nominated. The man's been champion for quite some time. But I guess they excluded that because Vasily and Gary Russell fought for the vacant title and he beat Gary Russell. So they probably excluded Gary Russell from being a recipient or a nominee for that freaking WBC title. I'm just kind of putting some shit out there, man. Seneca J, salute, man. What's good with you? I'm just throwing that out there because we're seeing firsthand on how they operate, how the WBC has its own rules and regulations, has its own index, that they go through and they pick and choose how they're going to go about delegating certain decisions. And they making it very clear that we go by our rules and not anyone else. It's what we choose to do, nothing else. So we don't care if you get disappointed. We don't care if you feel some type of way. We're going to continue to do what we want to do. And that's not going to be beneficial to what the fans want. In this case right here, with her, I just feel like it was cut and dry. From the gloves to the wraps, punch for punch, round for round. She was the champion, unified. She deserved some justice. And that justice came partially in her receiving her WBO belt back and not her WBC. But you're going to say, well, we're going to do our own. No, they're going to allot her. They're going to allot her 14 days to appeal or whatever they got going on. Still, at the end of the day, she has to fight a top contender to get her belt back. So let me enlighten you on who the top contender may be. Because we just seen her lose, right? We just seen her lose, and she lost handedly. I'm gonna look her name up right quick so I can get. That was the hype. Alicia Napoleon Espinosa. You remember the hype between her with Carissa Shields mentioning that she wanted to fight her next after Jimenez. I mean, not Jimenez, but Habashin. You know, Carissa Shields mentioned that this would be a fighter that she wouldn't have a problem with facing next. So they was hyping up Alicia Espinosa, who at that time was 12-1, right? So Espinosa was 12-1, 7 knockouts, looked very strong, looked like, you know, she'll be in there a good fight. You know, from appearance wise, she seemed like she can get in there and get it done. Real talk. Like, she was on like a five fight win streak I'm looking at. Her last fight that she was in there with, that she took an L, was against Tori Nelson. And we all know Carissa Shields defeated Tori Nelson, right? So she took that L back in 2016. And then since then, she's worked her way up to fighting Aline Cederroos. So she went in there and fought Cederroos, who was 7-0 at the time, now 8-0. And she ended up losing a unanimous decision. I mean, it was cut and dry that she lost that fight. Napoleon lost this fight hands down. Even though the judges' scorecard has it very close, 95-94 across the board, no. She lost the fight. And you know, coming full circle, this is what we have to deal with in boxing, because I believe that they really wanted to set up that fight between Napoleon and Shields because it makes sense. It's an interesting fight. You know, she gave you that look as a fighter. She seemed like she was going to be tough. They was trying to make that fight, and she lost. So now guess who they talking about that may indeed be next in the running? Just because they're trying to make Crews-Dezurn win her title back, it's potentially going to be against Alicia Espinosa. Real talk. Real talk. That's what's going on here, man. Oh my God, man. And she don't even have a title right now, man. She don't even have a title, bro. It would be good if she had that IBF title and the WBO title. That would be great. So, you know, Crews-Dezurn can fight for the undisputed. That'd be great. But she wasn't able to do that. You know, it was IBF versus WBA. She lost the fight, and now she is without a title. So now, coming back around to what my topic's about, WBO title. Now she has to fight for her WBC title. And then if Cederroos even comes back into the picture, and, you know, granted, Crews-Dezurn go in there and win and get her title back, she fight for the unified. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be right now, give her both her titles back so we can potentially see her and Cederroos get it on the super middleweight division to be undisputed. That's the right way of doing things, right? That shit is the right way. I swear, this boxing game, boy, that shit's just crazy. It's crazy, man. Boxing always give you the twists and turns when you're not even asking for it. And then when you're sitting up here with a raised eyebrow, right? You're saying to yourself, okay, that's what we figured out. You know, she's dirty. She sound dirty. She sound like a voice that was deeper than mine. She's dirty. We're sitting up here like, okay, the next thing is, and I was even on here. I was like, When are they going to return the belts? When are they going to return the belts? It's obvious. So the WBO came out, cool. Salute to them. Much respect. And then the WBC followed up 2 days after and up here speaking on criteria, and they're on protocol on how they do business. And we're not going to just give her the belt back. She has to fight for it. So now they're going to try to give Napoleon another chance to get a freaking belt. That's what this is about, man. They're going to try to give Napoleon another chance to get a belt, especially the one she lost. Not only is she going to be fighting for the WBC title, she's going to have to go in there and fight for the damn WBO. You know what I'm saying? That's where the hardcore boxing fans understand the reality when it comes to these fighters. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine yourself have to go around in a circle when you should have been going straight up the middle. You know, that's when it gets a bit more technical when it comes to the bullshit. Like you should be going straight up the middle to the next big fight. But now you got to go around because somebody threw a wrench. You know what I'm saying? No fault of Crews-Dezurn, but fault of Jimenez popping dirty. Man, I swear, boy. But you know, you either love or hate boxing, man. You cannot be a supporter of this sport without understanding how unscrupulous it can be at times. You know what I'm saying? You cannot follow the sport without understanding the severity in what you're in for. This is not a sport where you're going to have people that are just saints competing in a combat sport for the love of God. It's just not the way this sport is made up. It's just not the way it happens, man. Skorowski. It's obvious some boxers aren't being tested prior, or this information is purposely held and released afterwards. It's like they're dangling the belt in her face. Just not fair. Well, they tested before the fight, on the eve of the fight, they test. But look, with these anti-doping agencies, they will test the fighter. But with any doping agency, it takes them a while before these results return. You know what I'm saying? They have so many. Like if you're talking about VADA and they have a fight card, you know what I'm saying? It depends on what fights are on there. Like the 4-rounders and 6-rounders, I don't think these fighters are tested like that. When you got a championship fight and then say you have another co-main event that may be 10-rounder, 12-rounder, a championship fight. You know, you just say you have 3 fights on the card that these people need to be tested. You know, you're talking about 6 fighters total that needs to be tested. And also these results are going to take time. And then you're talking about multiple entities of VADA. They have multiple areas that they're at the same time, testing fighters. And then they have to bring all these results back. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the process is. They have to test them and then render the results. So they have multiple freaking what's the word I'm looking for? They have multiple tests that they have to sit up here and wait and go through the entire process with, come back with the result, make sure it's good to go, and then submit it for announcement. If it comes back clean, they're like, okay, the test came back clean. But when it comes back dirty, they have to make sure the test is actually, you know, it's coming back like that, get some verification and clarity. Once that's completed, then they hand it over and the news come out. But good point, though. Good point. Good point. But I hope they do better. Dealing with the COVID-19, y'all. And shout out to Crews-Dezurn and her husband. Salute to y'all, man. Hope y'all get some justice in this case. I know y'all out there busting y'all ass as professional fighters, man, out here on the grind. in the trenches. I mean, speaking of the military household, if you had two people in the military in the same household, I can only imagine how tough it is for two boxers to be in the household. You know what I'm saying? Going on deployment, going in training camp. I mean, training camp is almost like a deployment, really. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at about 8 weeks. If you don't get a short notice call up, you're looking at a good 8 weeks if it's a big fight, right? And it's out of town too. Like if your camp is out of state, it's tough. That shit is tough, man. Due to the COVID-19, I wanted to touch bases on this. Word comes out from Frank Warren, and I'm pretty sure more will be mentioned pertaining to this subject, right? Is that Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury may indeed be pushed back. You know what I'm saying? So it may not be in July due to everything that's going on with the quarantine, the self-isolation, all the freaking orders that are being handed down, and all the changes that we're going through right now. I must tell you all that's tuned in, be aware of false emails that's circulating. You know what I'm saying? Be aware of individuals approaching your house saying they with this particular organization, or they're here to do inspection or something like that. People are being robbed. Be very careful about letting somebody up to your door or allowing them with fake badges to enter your home saying that they're here from the state or whatever, or CDC, and they're trying to do tests on your home. If anybody approach you and try to gain access to your home and say you all have to step outside, why? You know what I'm saying? Why can't I be here to supervise? You know what I'm saying? Don't do it. Don't click on some of these emails that's also out here. Some of them are phishing emails, and some of them are just outright clickbait, just basically out there to spread false news, fake news, whatever. So don't believe everything that you're getting in your inbox or what you're seeing on Facebook. Yes, they need to do much better with the testing process. Yeah, man, they have when it comes to testing though, that is a process that they just can't rush. They make sure that process is thorough, or else themselves they can find themselves in litigation. You know what I'm saying? They can find themselves in litigation. That is pretty much, that is pretty much what happened and kind of changed the scope of drug testing over in the UFC, dealing with John Jones. Because if you have a person that's doping and they're in the process of coming clean, you can still come up with picograms in your system that shows up on a test, even though that person is clean. It still can be residue that's left over from when that person was actually taking the supplements. And that found out to be the case. John Jones had to go to the commission, though he was suspended for legitimately, testing dirty, right? It came to a point where he was off. He was working as a clean fighter, training as a clean fighter, and picograms are still showing up in the system. So when he went up to a fight and tested positive for picograms, it forced them to basically dive much deeper into, okay, hold up. We believe he wouldn't go through the whole process of paying a $200,000 fine and all this other stuff and still out here doping. And that forced them to basically review the process for which they go about testing these fighters. And I believe in their testing or in their research, they kind of found out that if a fighter, it was taking a specific supplement, there is a possibility that supplement can still be exiting, or what's the language that they use? The supplement can be not lingering, but it may take time. I don't want to use withdrawal, right? Because it's not a withdrawal process with that particular substance. or drugs or whatever. But anyway, what they were saying is through the process of the after effects of not being on the drug anymore, your body can still produce, per the testing over there, USADA, residue in picograms to whatever you was taking. So they decided not to suspend Jon Jones again, which was great, because if they would have suspended him on top of the suspension that he had just came back from and had to review in front of the commission, that would have been his career. It would have been a wrap. But the wild thing about it, people, is this: there are many other athletes who were suspended, and potentially when they were trying to prove their innocence, they wasn't able to do it because people was just like saying that you're testing dirty. It took Jon Jones, a repeat offender, to kind of, I guess, convince them to say, hey, I'm not doing shit. I'm on this particular, supplement. And just recently, speaking of this, Yoel Romero, he was in court when people was just defaming him and just cutting everything else he had ever did in the sport of mixed martial arts, just basically saying he was a cheat, like his physique was all from drugs and everything. But Yoel Romero was saying like, no, that's not true. That's not true. And people weren't believing him, right? He went to court, man. There's no telling how much money he spent in court. And I'm not sure how much money he's received from this judgment. But supposedly he won $27.5 million. That was for lost wages, which was double. The defamation. I mean, they really paid out a freaking lump sum. Check this out. This is after the Jon Jones case, right? So Yoel Romero wins a case from a tainted supplement, which basically renewed what legacy he was trying to fight for. It basically renewed that because people was like, okay, he's a clean fighter. They found him not guilty in intentionally ingesting a tainted supplement. And tainted supplements are a big thing in combat sports, period. Check this out. Not only Yoel Romero, but then Anderson Silva too. Before Yoel Romero, he was in there fighting. And the results came back that he wasn't intentionally taking tainted supplements or doping. So his reputation was restored. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's on the mixed martial arts side of the house. I'm not sure how it kind of bleeds over to boxing, but on the mixed martial arts side of the house, I saw Anderson Spider Silva get his reputation restored. Yoel Romero, Jon Jones, he couldn't deny that he was up here doing cocaine and doing freaking pads early on, right when he suspended. But when he finally decided, I'm gonna get my shit together, I'm gonna get off, I'm clean now, blah blah blah. When he popped positive again, they really decided to say, okay, what is going on here? Is he still doping, or there's residue internal to his system that is still being shown on the text or whatever? That's still being highlighted on the test, still in this bloodstream or whatever the case. And that's what they determined, man. They determined it was still, relieving his body. That's fact, y'all. That's fact. That's fact. But like I said, the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight may not, it's not official yet, but may not go be in July. It may not go down in July for the trilogy. So just stand by, be patient, and we'll see what the word is about this particular fight, if it's going to be pushed back, because the COVID-19 situation is live and live in color. Real talk. It's live and live in color. People are losing their mind over this. Speaking of it, right? Kind of changing subjects a little bit, people. I wanted to kind of You know, if LeBron James is listening. LeBron James. I'm gonna tell you a little something. Like when I see people that's wealthy as LeBron James, right? I see them making a video at home, and he's up here rubbing his head like, "Yeah, I've been in self-isolation. I haven't received a cut." And I'm saying to myself, right? I learned how to fire up some clippers at the age of 12. That's real talk. That's why most of the time, anybody tell you, you know, during my time in the military, even on here, I have a pretty decent cut, pretty decent line. You know what I'm saying? I learned early on about barbers and their etiquette. I learned early on how barber can actually move your hairline back, how they can not fade you properly, all that shit, right? So I'm looking at LeBron James. I'm saying to myself, damn, you are a lifetime. Aren't you the lifetime? You have a lifetime sponsor? This man is stupid rich. You don't know how to cut your hair while you in quarantine. I mean, self-isolation. You don't know how to use some clippers. That shit is easy. I'm gonna show you. First of all, go get some of this so you can. Let me take this down right quick. So I want you to, you know, look at this Cool Care Plus for your clipper blades. It's simple, LeBron. Come on, man. This is to keep your clippers oil. Whenever you get some clippers, I know you have enough money to get some clippers. You know, go buy some of this oil so you can keep it lubed up because your hair has dirt and oil in it and everything else. And also there, LeBron James, I want you to understand one thing. It's a difference between cutting your hair with grease in it, you know, hair grease that you put in there, or after you finish washing your hair and it's totally dry. So it's two different textures you're gonna get in doing that. You know what I'm saying? You can cut your hair either or, but it's according to what you're trying to do. You don't wear your hair faded up all the time, you know, a skin fade on the side, faded up, and then low on the top. So therefore, it may not affect you as much. But sometimes when you're using edgers and everything else, and you got grease in your hair, it may indeed. So let me give you a little bit of, you probably already know about, you know, get a brush, wild boar hair, right? All right there, LeBron. You're a millionaire, right? You up here complaining about freaking being in isolation. So for those of you that cut hair, these is just the basic senior clippers, man, with a one on, you know, just a basic damn guard you can put on here, man, and cut your hair. You can just you know, lower it if you want to a lower skin, or just raise it up and then just glaze over your hair. If you're not confident in cutting your entire head, then you can just glaze over your hair, man, and take off the tips and make it fresh, man, wash it and all that. But this is all you need. Just get some seniors, man. That's all you need. I've been having these clippers, not this particular pair, but I've been rocking the seniors, man, ever since I was freaking, on my own, 17. And anybody who cut hair knows about this, right? Knows about the Andes T-blades. Whether you want a T-blade or not, it depends on you. But LeBron, come on now. This is all you need. I know you're old enough to know how to line your hair up, bro. I learned how to line my hair up. I mean, we're talking about before I was 13 years old, I knew what lining hair up consisted of. The blade that goes on the Andes edges, and there's many different liners out there. It's about $17 in some places, $15 in the other, but it doesn't take that much for you to just sit up here and line your hair up and then go shoot. You know, you take a little bit off the top with the singers, and then you got down, take this Andes edges, and you edge your hair up. It's that simple, people. And then again, you know, you have the travel clipper oil that you can use. But people, I try to tell them, I say, teach your sons how to cut their own hair, because when it comes time for them to want to go somewhere, right? just say they want to go somewhere, they want a fresh cut, especially when they get in high school. They should know how to touch it up. If they ain't trying to ball it and give a skin fade, they know how to touch it up and make it look presentable. They know how to go against the grain, use that guard, lower it, fade it, blend it in, comb it, blend it in some more until you get the look that you're looking for. Comb the hair out, throw that line across there. And that's another, I'm not getting into the whole process because I'm speaking to LeBron James. You know, he was up here doing barbershop conversations and stuff like that. So they should be able to tell you all the secrets to lining up your hair. But it's so many secrets to lining up your hair. You can put a spritz across here, let it dry up, and then it'll give you a bit more crispy line in the front. Look, but the secret to everyone is trying to line their hair up. Listen to me. Listen carefully. When you're lining your hair up, you want to put that blade on there as light as possible. And and don't be reckless. You want to make sure you have a visual on the place that you're lining up, and you just don't want to be, you just don't want to come down and line it up. You want to go up in front and just tap that blade, move it up a little bit. You just don't want to be reckless and say, I want a super fresh line and put that blade up there, and you end up pushing your hairline back half an inch. Believe me, I know you want to sit up here and say, well, I just let it grow back. It's not that easy. It's not that easy because you're going to want another cut, right? So if you don't want to cut your hair and line it up, a barber is going to line it up. So when you go in there for a barber, right, and you're trying to let this grow back, either one or two things you need to tell him, LeBron, that you probably already know this. I'm not getting the line up in the front. I'm gonna hold off on that. Just do everything else, skin fade, little off the top, keep it dark, blah, 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 all that other stuff, right? Let him know. Let him know. Leave the front alone. I'm letting that grow in. That's all you have to do, man. Teach your sons how to cut their own damn hair. Because when it comes time for them wanting to go out when they get older, all you have to do is just lay that line across there. Teach them the little tricks and trades on how to freaking wet that up. Let it dry. Put that line up there. It's easy work. Of course, this is after you wash your hair, and everything, get all the hair out. Put that grease on there. Get that line, and you're looking fresh. Now, I must say, the compass or the coordinates for people's hairlines are different. We know that. As black men, we know this. As white men, you know that. And as Hispanics, you know that. Hairlines have a different coordinates on them. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's hairline is not where they would want it to be. That's why you have to be very careful on putting those edges and making sure you know what you're doing. You just can't sit up here and think, you're going to press it up against your head. The harder you press it up against your head, the sharper your line is going to be. That's not the way it works. All you have to do is adjust the blade on your edges to the point where they're sharp, and you test it on your arm. You know what I'm saying? Test to see how low it is on the arm. And then that should kind of give you an idea of how your line is going to be as far as the sharpness goes and how's it going to cut. Some barbers you go to, they line you up, they're cutting your skin. And you need to let them know because that shit can get infected. And some barbers, they clippers are good. They give you the nice and crispy, the Popeyes, and you're good to go. You're good to go. But if your hairline is back here and it doesn't have no formity to it, then that's something you have to worry about yourself. I can't give you any helpful hints on that. The only thing I can say is, they have kits out there now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thankful to my Lord and Savior, Holy God, that I'm still up here rocking, I got a couple of gray patches right there, but I'm still rocking, the same, my hair and all that. I'm good. If I want to go ahead and freaking take some off the top, line it up in the front, that's good. Every now and then I freaking ball out the edges. I mean, ball it, skin fade it. Fade it in with a mirror. Easy work. But look, it saves you money. I'm talking about to my brothers, it saves you money. Learn how to cut your own hair. You don't have to wait in lines on the holidays and goddamn sit up there for 2 and 3 hours just so you can get a fresh cut so you can head out. No, go to the bathroom, invest in a freaking, well, you should have a dirty sheet, right? Or a sheet that you just use. Put a sheet up there over the damn counter of the sink and get a mirror. And you have to have a mirror in back and learn how to cut your own damn hair. Learn how to go against the grain. Comb it, brush it, whatever you want to do. Adjust those clippers, go against the grain. Take it as low as you want, then fade it into the middle. Then go to the top, fade all that in, comb it, see where you at. And then the finished product should be something that you enjoy. You know why you're going to enjoy it? Because you didn't have to sit up there and pay the barber $25 to $30 freaking dollars, sitting in there listening to other people talk about just miscellaneous nonsense. Teach your sons how to cut their goddamn hair. It's easy work, y'all. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? I'm just putting it out there. I'm trying to help people in this crisis, COVID-19. Look, I can't sit up here and watch grown ass men that's rich complain about being in the house rubbing their chin. Oh man, I don't have nobody to cut my hair. I'm like, LeBron, dude, you can't have a barber come over your house? I mean, I'm talking about B. I'm talking about the B plan, C plan. You can't have a barber show up to your crib, or you don't trust them like that. So you trying to tell me you rubbing your beard, you're like, hey, man, I just don't know, man. I ain't got a cut in a week. If you haven't got a cut in a week, that is the perfect time during this isolation period we're in to learn how to cut your own hair. And you know what? Most of the time, I'm not gonna lie to you. Most of the time, some people, girls, they know how to cut hair. Or they will volunteer, and you might say, no, I don't want my girl cutting hair. But believe it or not, sometimes women will pick up on how to cut the hair that you cut it the way you want it, especially back here in the back, because a lot of guys will say like, oh, I can't see in the back. It's easy to cut in the back. You just freaking hold the mirror at an angle. You brush it out first or comb it, and then you go against the grain, man, and take it down. It's very, very easy, y'all. Somebody passed that word to LeBron James, like, bro, stop whining about not getting a haircut when you have went through a whole lot of other remediation with learning how to dribble, shoot, different plays and everything, and you can't cut your freaking hair because you're in isolation? No, bro. Goddamn, cut your own freaking hair, man. Do that there. Bron, come on, man. I expect more from y'all older guys out there, the OGs out there that got all that damn deep pockets. And y'all can't sit up here and buy a pair of Andy's Edgers and the seniors. That's all you need. And buy the clipper oil. Have a comb or a brush. And that's that. Black men, if you're worried about your line, right? If you're worried about your hairline being pushed back by the barbers, all you have to do is buy a pair of edges yourself. When you go to the barber the second time in that month, I don't know how many times. If you go every week, then it's even better because you can tell them, cut me up, but I don't need a line in the front. You learn how to do your own line. Then you basically savage and maintain your natural hairline longer than you would if you're going up there to the barber 3 times a month and he's really trying to give you that nice fresh, but what he's doing is he's pushing your hairline back slowly but surely. So you go in there and take a picture, and you're looking at the picture like, shit, god damn. Man, what's that shit right there, man? My hairline, damn. How that shit get all the way back there, man? Dang. And then you start doing some crazy stuff because you're in isolation, right? You start getting permanent markers and painting your shit in like they do on the reality shows down here in Atlanta. The motherfuckers be painting hairlines on there. Safari be getting this hairline freaking painted in, man. This all me right here. This all me. Yeah. You got to take care of your hairlines, fellas. Take care of your hairline. Don't have the barber line you up all the time. Let him do it once a freaking month and you learn how to do it yourself, man. That shit is simple. Even on the sides. Man, do that shit yourself. If you know, we live in the world of okay, we live in a world now where people will look at you more. I don't know, it's kind of different. Like people are quick to judge hairlines this day and time. But also what I'm seeing is they are quick to accept what is in style now. And what's in style is the kits. They have men kits now that you can be missing your hair and they can put you a whole nother kit up there that make it seem like you got the freshest hair on the block. And I think it lasts what? Several weeks. That shit lasts. And also you got in some areas, especially down here in the South, where they paint your beard in. They can even give you a fake beard. They can give you fake hair up top. All that. Times have changed. You know what I'm saying? Like times have goddamn changed. But I see cats around here all the time, man, with them painted hairlines. Just painted hairlines, man. If your hair's to a point where you want to paint it to where you would like it, and your hairline is actually maybe 1.5 inches away from that demarcation line that you painted, it's time to just give it up. It's time to just settle in, line up where your hairline is currently at, and deal with it. Because on TV, we see the black, how it's black and how it kind of separates and look different from your skin. We see that. It's not like the texture of your hair. It's just like straight freaking black. But yeah, that was my class for free, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help the brothers out, that think they have to sit in a barbershop chair. You don't. Teach your sons how to freaking line their own hair up. That's the basics. Number one, lining hair up. Basics. And then if they wear their hair high and they don't have the twist in it or whatever, they just wearing it high, whatever, you can teach them how to take the tips off. Lower the blade and just take the tips off, man. Just graze over it. Take the tips off. Tighten it up a little bit. That's all you got to do. Be sure to support the channel, man. Make your donations for that knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That's going to help your son when he be in high school to save you some money also, Dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help everybody out. It saves money. You don't have to sit up here and listen to these kids say, hey, Dad, I got to go to the barbershop. Or how much you need. He's going to ask you for money for the cut and to get him something to eat. So you're looking at about $35, $40. 2 twins. So you take them 2 twins, go in there, and he may indeed tip the barber. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking at about $20, $25 for a cut. And then he want to go out, chill, eat with his friends or whatever, get something to eat. I'm trying to save you like $80, man. That's all I'm trying to do, people. Back to boxing. I wanted to read another article. I'm about to find it. just in case, you know, the AJ fans was out there, Anthony Joshua and the Pulev fight. The UCAD has suspended drug testing. Wow. Go figure, right? So UCAD has suspended drug testing. And of course, Anthony Joshua and Pulev fight has been postponed due to the matters at hand. So those of you AJ fans was looking for him to get back in the ring and do whatever you was expecting, the fight has been postponed. They speak about Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin trilogy. Of course, Canelo is open up as the betting odds favor. I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? Canelo is gonna open up as the betting odds favorite. And also he's gonna be the one to go in there and have the favor in his hand to win that fight. I don't see Gennady Golovkin being better than Sergey Kovalev. You know what I'm saying? It's no way, no how at this point in time in his career, regardless of them being in two different divisions. I'm talking about boxing technique. I don't see Sergey Kovalev being better. I mean, being less of a fighter than Gennady Golovkin. So I expect Canelo to freaking win this fight. I can't really say it's going to be a knockout. And I really, truly, to this day, will not co-sign on him stopping Sergey Kovalev. It's no way. It's no freaking way, bro. I don't agree with that. Rocky Fielding, he did whatever he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Third round stoppage, whatever, body shot, man. Come on. I don't think he was in there to keep that shit. But when it comes to Sergey Kovalev, I feel like it was fixed. Period. I don't agree with that. He wasn't able to stop Gennady Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? And Gennady is a tough fighter. But you went up there and stopped the crusher. But anyway, I don't see him stopping Gennady Golovkin. I just don't see it. Gennady is one of those guys who has a very tough beard, respectable beard, man. And you're not going to find fighters in his resume that has dropped him. You're not going to find him. So if Canelo comes in here and drops freaking Gennady Golovkin or even stop him, I don't know, man. It's hard for me not to run the bullshit flag up, but I'll have to see how bad Gennady is looking. You know what I'm saying? I know he looked a little bit suspect against Sergey Derevyanchenko, and I truly thought he lost that fight. We'll see what's popping, man. I hope it's no bullshit. I don't think a lot of people is going to even tune into that fight. But when it's talking about Gennady Golovkin, the once praised, heralded freaking middleweight, that everybody, Jim Lampley, was just praising every time. Look, Gennady can move side to side and not throw a punch. But Jim Lampley say, oh, did you see that 3-punch combination that he just threw? He did it so fast, it was unrecognizable. Every punch that freaking Gennady threw, Jim Lampley. Oh, what a crushing punch, Gennady. He's one of the hardest hitters ever in the sport of boxing. This man's hands need to be enshrined. Seriously, Gennady's hands need to be enshrined. They are a tool of excellence. No. Hearn told White should keep a close eye. Eddie Hearns is on here in this particular article on Boxing Scenes and saying that Dillian White should keep a close eye on Fury UCAD situation. You know, the UCAD situation is like the 25,000 pounds allegedly that's supposed to have been paid to this farmer, Mr. Carefoot, you know, to go in there and perjure himself along with Team Fury to basically say he served them uncastrated wild boar. It's been in the news for quite some time now. So they're talking about in early 2015, Fury failed a UCAD issued drug test. It was widely reported that Fury test result was directly connected to the consumption of wild boar meat. The farmer, Martin Carefoot, claims to have signed 2 witness statements where he falsely claimed to have provided the boar meat in question. Carefoot now states that he never kept wild boar or boar meat in general and only claimed that information after Fury team member allegedly approached him with the promise of money. It's not been confirmed how UCAD is handling the information or if they plan to conduct some sort of investigation. Interesting. They go on to say, speaking of Dillian Whyte, right? Dillian Whyte himself was investigated by UCAD last year for a positive test in connection to his fight with Oscar Rivas in July. He was ultimately cleared of the charges, but during the investigation, his status as interim champ was suspended by the World Boxing Council. After he was cleared, the WBC restored his status. As I understand, it's going to be looked into by UCAD. Hearns told Sky Sports, I guess the truth will come out in the wash. And what we do know about Dillian Whyte's test, the B sample somehow met the hands of David Copperfield and disappeared. You know what I'm saying? David Copperfield, a known legend to the magician, the world of magicians, somehow, some way, Dillian Whyte's sample disappeared. They go on to say, as I understand it, the key witness in the case has come out and effectively changed his statements of what happened. I'll let them deal with that. If I'm Dillian Whyte right now, I'm looking at the situation knowing that if there's an issue with Tyson Fury as world champion, I become the WBC heavyweight world champion. Because right now, he was suspended while an investigation was taking place. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Let me read this shit over to you again. Let me read this bullshit over. I'll let them deal with that. If I'm Dillian Whyte right now, I'm looking at this situation, knowing that if there's an issue with Tyson Fury as world champion, I become the WBC heavyweight world champion. Because right now, he was suspended while an investigation was taking place. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman is firmly in Fury's corner on this matter. I'm sure, sir. I'm sure. I'm sure you are. You firmly in Fury's corner. We understand. Got it. The WBC does not act on gossip. I guess they're talking about everybody that's putting out anything and everything about this particular matter. The WBC does not act on gossip or media postings. Let me rephrase that to you new media guys like myself. The WBC does not act on gossip or media postings. Unless a formal claim is presented, then the WBC can intervene on any matter. And I'm not referring specifically to the matter about Fury, Suleiman said. A lot has come out, especially on mainstream media, right? And dealing with this matter. I mean, our voices have echoed several times over each day. And we put out countless videos, and the particular incident dealing with Tyson Fury popping positive with freaking Vladimir Klitschko, you know, just recently his situation with Christian Hammer, you know, his situation with Deontay Wilder and, you know, Tyson Fury won, and the situation in the rematch. So, you know, you can take it subliminal however you want, but what a lot of us are talking about is not gossip. You know what I'm saying? I know he's referring to what their procedures are in this particular protocol and looking into cases, but gossip or media postings. This is a fight that interests me too. This is a fight that interests me big time. Jamel Herring and Carl Frampton. Shout out to my comrade in arms, Devil Dog, Jamel Herring. Simplify. Jamel Herring and Carl Frampton, man, look forward to meeting in the ring whenever boxing resumes its normal scheduled programming. Both sides have reached an agreement for their forthcoming junior lightweight. Junior lightweight is 130. Title fight promoter Frank Warren announced on Wednesday. Teams have agreed that Carl Frampton, the real C. Frampton, to challenge at Jamel Herring to the for the world WBO super featherweight title. What? Okay. Anyway, Warren tweeted. I don't know why he's sitting up here switching that up like that. Warren tweeted from verified social media accounts news on date and venue. I think in certain cases that people love to use super, you know what I'm saying, instead of junior. You know, you talk to boxing casuals, they don't know the difference, but they think it's just a when it comes to 130, they're like, we don't want to use junior lightweight, you know. But when you put both in an article like this, you should have used it the same way each time. I understand you're quoting someone, but you know, you might confuse the advocate reader who don't know how to separate the two. Junior lightweight, super featherweight. Which one are we talking about? That's all I'm saying. So the article goes on to read, the working date has been June 13th in Frampton's hometown of Belfast, Northern Ireland. So Jamel Herring will be deploying into the backyard of the enemy. And, you know, that's not something Marines aren't used to. We're not accustomed to it, but it's not something that's new to us either. However, the ongoing coronavirus disease, COVID-19 pandemic has brought sports events to a grinding halt. Every situation fluid until a clear picture can be provided. The bout has been teased ever since both scored separate wins, previously unbeaten opposition last November. Frampton 27-2, 15 knockouts, scored a 10 rounds shutout of unbeaten featherweight prospect Tyler McCreary in their 128-pound catchweight contest. And speaking of Tyler McCreary, right, I really was expecting more from that brother. Like, I just felt that he can do more. I thought he would put up a better effort than he did with Frampton. Not for Frampton just to dictate the pace, man, and have him fighting, boxing off the back foot. You know, I just thought he would put up a more competitive fight. The win came 3 weeks after Herring, 22-1, lodged the first successful defense of his 135-pound title, handing Lamont Roach. You know, shout out to Lamont Roach. Had the opportunity to interview him in Baltimore. His first defeat in a 12-round decision. And I actually spoke to him about that fight too. But it was a good fight. It was a really good fight. Both fights aired on ESPN platforms, one of the which will also carry this particular event. I'm not going to go into the entire process. Herring last fought overseas in 2012 London Olympics, where he served as a team captain in the 2012 United States Olympic boxing team. And this would be Herring's second defense. I mean, his freaking win over Masayuki Ito, that was a damn good fight. I like the way Herring was moving. He was slipping punches, exiting, resetting, how he was landing his punches. He was fighting tall. You know what I'm saying? He was very, very accurate that day. Seriously, he was very accurate. That was an entertaining fight, man. They say I need to read my brother's freaking Marine Corps honors. A decorated U.S. Marine, two-tour Iraqi veteran, properly paying homage to fallen war veterans. A military thing also came of his win over Roach, which took place 2 days prior to Veterans Day. Yes, salute, Simplify, bro. Simplify to you. I don't even want to talk about Saunders and Canelo. I don't even want to talk about that shit. People up here talking about Billy Joe Saunders, you know, he has the right style to beat Canelo. Show me. Show me. This should be interesting to the ones who still tuned in. This should be interesting. Oh, Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor being a part of one of the most lucrative boxing matches in history. Not that he had an extensive boxing career prior to crossing over temporarily from mixed martial arts to boxing, but he had the right dance partner to convince the American public that, hey, come on over here and pay this amount of money. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to defeat your champion, Floyd Mayweather, because I can. I'm a two-division mixed martial arts champion at the time, featherweight and lightweight, and I'm the man for the job. So UFC superstar, they still call him a superstar. He been subbed out. You know, he had a short comeback win against Cowboy Donald Cerrone, but he said UFC superstar Conor McGregor is expected to enter the boxing ring in the near future. McGregor made his boxing debut back in August of 2017 when he took part of a cross-sport junior middleweight showdown with five-division world champion Floyd Mayweather. Junior middleweight, what is that exactly? 154. 154 pretty much suited Conor McGregor because, you know, in the UFC, their weight divisions, the lightweight division is 155. And then the highest he's fought in the UFC is welterweight, 170. Welterweight in boxing is 147. So you see the disparity between that? Like, that's amazing, right? Welterweight in the UFC is 170 pounds. 170 pounds, y'all. But welterweight in boxing is 147. That's crazy. And then, you know, if you go down, just say you go down just a little bit. Just say you go to lightweight division. The lightweight division is 155, but in boxing, it's 135. That's a big time disparity. Seriously. That's why they're talking about basically including around in between 155 and 170, possibly a 165-pound division. Despite a good start in the early rounds, McGregor was broken down and stopped in the 10th round at the T-Mobile Center. They want to start off by putting McGregor made his return to the UFC circle back in January when he wiped out Donald Cowboy Cerrone in less than a minute. Why aren't you bringing up his bout with Khabib Nurmagomedov? Y'all tripping. In recent interviews, McGregor has mentioned the possibility of facing WBA welterweight champion Manny Pacquiao. He also very focused on securing a rematch with Mayweather, settling a grudge with former sparring partner Paulie Malignaggi. I hope not. But you know what? Paulie Malignaggi at this point in time, if him and Conor McGregor was to fight, people will come see it. Listen, regardless if you want what you want to say about Paulie Malignaggi, when he fought Artem Lobov, he fought smart as the boxer he is, the former world champion. He did. He did, man. I have to give it up to him. He wasn't running around, hanging out on the ropes, acting like he was a retired boxer close to the hospice care. He went in there and he fought. And he really had his way with Artem Lobov. Easy work. Easy work. But, you know, out of the names that was mentioned, Manny Pacquiao, Paulie Malignaggi, and Mayweather. Of course, I don't know if the general public will want to see Mayweather again, or they will, because once again, Mayweather has became rich by people coming to see him lose. So if Mayweather was to step back in there with Conor McGregor a second time, I think it'll do pretty decent numbers. It won't do the same numbers or exceed those numbers as before, because Floyd Mayweather is much older now. I don't know. People still pay to see Conor McGregor because they think he can beat him. Seriously, they would think that. Manny Pacquiao, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? Like, what Manny Pacquiao are we getting? Is it going to be testing or no? If it's no testing, then it'll be an interesting fight. Because Manny Pacquiao is 42 years old, I believe. He's just an old guy, man. The one thing that equals incompatibility to these two, Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor, if they fought, at the age that Manny is now, his cardio will pretty much equal that of Conor McGregor, because Conor McGregor don't have good cardio. And we seen in the Keith Thurman fight that Manny Pacquiao, he got tired. He was getting a little fatigued in the mid to later rounds. Shit, they talking about 10 people died in Georgia from the coronavirus. Shit. I'm about to go to Popeyes. But so Paulie Malignaggi, man, will be a good fight. Being that both, Paulie can talk shit, man. Seriously. Paulie can talk shit. On with the article. At the moment, McGregor's next fight is up in the air with the worldwide COVID-19. I am willing to fight anyone. This is Conor. I am willing to fight anyone and have proved that time and time again. Okay, he say, I'm willing to fight anyone, have proved that time and time again. Man, I don't know about that. Well, I can say that in the cage. Okay, I can get it. He fought Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, Nate Diaz, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Eddie Alvarez. He does have a pretty good resume. Jose Aldo, who he knocked out in 13 seconds. But coming to the boxing ring, I mean, you only fought Floyd Mayweather, man, and he carried you for 10 rounds. I'm kind of say I look for a good scrap, and if it isn't good to be that, I have no interest. Now, he have no interest if the money isn't right. The money is not why I do this. Man, stop it, bruh. Stop it, Conor. Stop it. You must, when you sit up here telling them that, you must have been sipping on some proper 12 and a half. You know what I'm saying? Because you're sitting up here talking about the money is not why I do this, and it's exactly why you do it. That's exactly why you demand the high price tags. I'm a very rich man, and my children and those that come after them will be just fine. I love the fight game. I've learned many things. Boxing in the Kremlin, where I grew up, and my deep love is why I do this today. I will be in the octagon again soon and fully expect to box again. You will need to stay tuned, but trust me, the fans will enjoy. Give them what they want, and entertainment. Entertaining them is important to me. Okay. I can say that on the cage. And, I can kind of say that when he fought Floyd Mayweather. He actually tried to do some shit. He looked funny, but, he did land some punches on Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? But that's because Floyd had to make it interesting. If Floyd went in there and made this guy look silly, then people start throwing freaking Dr. Peppers in the ring, Cokes, Sprites, half-eaten hot dogs. You know what I'm saying? They would start throwing bags of Skittles in there. People would be upset. They would be upset, man. So I would give Conor partial credit for some what he put in this article, but no Manny Pacquiao. I'm kind of leaning on the edge of freaking Floyd Mayweather, but really it'll be good to see him fight Paulie Malignaggi. Real talk. Chris Ray was good, man. Didn't see you in here. Salute to you. Thanks for dropping in, man. One more, and then I'm going to pull the ripcord, pop the hatch. I'm going to one more article just yet. Just hold on for a second. As you didn't know, I was repping my Atlanta Falcons. You know what I'm saying? Which rarely happens. Julio Jones. Shout out to the Dirty Birds. That never been my team. I'm not gonna lie. The only time I supported them before they even went to won the national championship was that year. That's it. That's the only time I actually supported the Falcons, man. My premonition was good, and I was able to see some good football. Unfortunately, we haven't did nothing from there, man. It's disappointing. It's absolutely disappointing to the fullest. From what I'm hearing, they let go of Devontae Freeman. But Matt Ryan is the franchise player, so in case you Jeff Horn fans was freaking wondering where he's at, he's set to Tim Zoo. You know what I'm saying? But it's been postponed. But one thing to note, if you remember, the epic fight and disruption that happened between his dad and Zab Judah. You know what I'm saying? So his son is out here fighting, and he looks to establish his own legacy now. So let me give you a review. This fight has been postponed, but let me see what the article has to read about via ESPN. They talk about the U-turn due to the COVID-19 virus, the U-turn, and as far as, this fight actually taking place when it was scheduled. Let me see what else it has. So a super welterweight fight. The winner, 10-round fight. The Horn Zoo mega fight is the latest. They call him the Horn Zoo fight. Mega fight is the latest Australian sports event to be impacted by COVID-19. I just don't want to read you the same thing dealing with the COVID-19 in these articles. So I'm kind of scanning down to a part that doesn't repeat itself. That was just a short article, not too much on him. Well, my people, appreciate you for tuning in, though. Just wanted to get on here and talk about some boxing issues that I feel that was quite unfair with the WBC and the WBO. More so the WBC not owning up to what is right when it comes to returning her belts. But that's just boxing, and that's the sanctioning bodies, though. And also, I'll touch briefly on Wilder Fury potentially being pushed back and so forth. So y'all keep it tuned, man. And once again, salute to Crews-Dezurn for getting her title back. And hopefully there's word to change for the WBC. I don't think so. But I truly feel they're just trying to get Napoleon that shot again. That's what I feel, man. They want her to get that shot again to try to get her a belt. I don't know, man. But she just lost her belt. So we'll see how that plays out, man. If she has to go back in there, I'm pretty sure we should hear about a fight that's on the horizon with these two. Until then, y'all turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Salute.